I happen to have gone under the crossfires of the U.S. Attorney's Office, but it's really an assault on journalism, and it's an assault on all of our civil liberties. The reason that I think they went after me is that at first I seemed like an easy target. Independent journalist, makes barely any money a year. How's he going to afford a lawyer? And he's not very well known. How many people have looked at his website? Not that many. So they're like, this is an easy target. He'll probably put up a fight, but nothing's going to happen because, you know, no one will know about it. We can shuffle this under the carpet. But because we all started talking about this, because we started talking about the issues that are involved in this case, a movement is actually really kind of starting to percolate about this issue and about what our government is doing right now. There's a quote from Lyndon B. Johnson, of all people, that says that the safest way to look at what we're doing abroad is the way we treat people at home. That's a paraphrase, but we're trying to export democracy, and yet how democratic is it when journalists can't do their work without fear of harassment, going to jail? I remember being in my 5th grade class, and my teacher was talking about how in other countries they send journalists to jail because only America is a democracy. Now, first off, that second whole thing was not accurate, but I thought the first part was. Then about a year ago, or 6 months ago, it began to dawn on me, not only in the abstract what's going on, but in a very real sense, how anyone can go into these crossfire, and there is something we can do about it, but all that we can do is speak up and let our voices heard about these issues. And the more we speak up, the more we take a stand about something, whether it's this or something else that affects you, the harder it is for them to push forth an agenda upon us. And so I encourage you to do what you think is right. When you find yourself in a situation that you're like, that doesn't seem right, I shouldn't have to do that, look inside yourself. Go, am I really standing on solid ground here? Is this really what I believe? And if it is, then see through to it. I mean, we can succeed and we will succeed. And maybe this fight won't win in the courts. But now, hundreds of thousands of people know what's going on, who were oblivious to this before. It's percolated into the news, and people are waking up. And we need to continue to wake people up, because if people aren't thinking about their world, then they're not even thinking at all, and they might as well just call themselves automatons. So, thank you all for coming out here, and I might say something a little later on. I had a whole statement that I had sent to Julian to read, but it was about, like, I'm in jail now, but I'm not. So, we got someone else coming up, and then, well, while we're doing that, let's all party. Here's
Thank you, Josh. Everybody give it up for Josh for this guy is a prisoner. He's going to prison tomorrow to protect our constitutional rights. Thank you all for coming out tonight. And thank you, Josh, for what you're doing. We're raising a little money tonight for Josh's rent while he's in, for his commissary fund, so if you can dig deep and contribute a little bit. We've got a few $100 so far, but that's, as you know, in San Francisco, rent's not that cheap, and it could be quite a long time when he's in there, so you guys help out if you can. I want to bring up some speakers now that are going to help elucidate some of the different aspects of this and a bit of the larger picture. Bruce Brugman, editor and publisher of the Big Guardian. This guy's been on the forefront of progressive causes in San Francisco for decades. Amen. First Amendment issues, public power, workers' rights, you name it, he's been there. Bruce Brugman, of the San Francisco, editor and publisher of the San Francisco Bay Guardian.
I just met Josh for the first time tonight. I can't figure out why he's so dangerous. Did anybody here figure out why he's dangerous? Doug Comstock is more dangerous than he is, and Rick Meany on the Sunshine Commission, and the Greens here. Ross Mercury Harris from Chastain. Now there's a guy from Cape who ought to be in jail. If anybody ever ought to be in jail, most of us here, most of the folks here probably ought to be in jail. No. We're all subversive in a very real sense. Anyway, you get my point. I'm here I'm from the Guardian, and we work on these issues, have for many years. But I'm also with a lot of different organizations that are kind of professional news organizations that are dedicated to the free press, dedicated to helping people like Josh or the two reporters at the Chronicle that are either in jail or facing jail. SPJ, signed a professional journalist, $30,000 to the cause, California First Amendment Coalition, nice resolution. I'm a member of 3 or 4 international groups, the American Press Association, Freedom of the Americas, IPI out of Vienna, WAN out of Paris, a Committee to Protect Journalists out of New York. All of these groups, even whether they've taken a position directly or not, would be behind Josh and behind the 2 Chronicle reporters on this fundamental common ground issue. But there's a hell of a lot more going on here than putting Josh in jail or the 2 Chronicle reporters in jail. I don't know, and I've asked around several different places, if there's any other city and county in the United States of America right now that has 3 newsmen, 3 reporters, 2 on the big daily owned out of New York by Hearst, and Josh Wolf off the streets of San Francisco as an independent photographer. Where else in the country are there 2, 3 journalists either in jail or facing jail? I don't know of any. I've checked around. I don't think there are any. Now, why the hell is that? Well, I can tell you, I've been around for a long time. I came into town about the time, visiting, about the time of the House Un-American Activities Committee riot, as the police call it, on the steps of City Hall. I started the Guardian with my wife in 1966. Vietnam, peace movement, all the way through the years up till now. San Francisco has a worldwide reputation, certainly a tremendous reputation in the U.S. for leading the issues on dissent, leading the issues against the war in Vietnam, leading the issues against the first war in Iraq, leading the issue against the second war in Iraq. This move by the U.S. Attorney's Office, by the Attorney General of the United States, comes, I think, directly from the White House, and the Pentagon, and the nexus of power in Washington, to not only put Josh in jail and 2 reporters from the Chronicle in jail, but essentially to try to gut and anesthetize the movement here on the issue. The issue, of course, the issue of the day is the war. The issue of the day, of course, is defeating Bush. The issue, of course, is to, I hate to say, support Nancy Pelosi. The Guardian has not supported Nancy Pelosi since she privatized the Presidio, but it's another story for another day. Nonetheless, you get the point. That's why this is so important. Now, another reason this is so important is because I look around here and I see a lot of very subversive people that ought to be in jail.
Thank you.
And at the Guardian, we say anybody who goes to jail, we get a nice little loaf of sourdough bread, we'll put in a couple of little penknives and a little saw, and in it goes, with a little ribbon. That's the Guardian's contribution.